The first thing I do is make some crayon shavings. Now you can use a sharpener, a pencil sharpener, or an adult could use a knife, or as I'm doing, you can use a vegetable peeler. That makes nice thin shavings that you can spread around. So I do this with all the colors that I'm going to use for the stained glass heart. The next step is to actually make the stained glass. I have a very old iron that I use as my craft iron. You can see it's kind of marked up. It's on to about a medium warmth, medium to high, I guess it would be. And on a piece of wax paper, I've doubled it. And on one side, I've used a Sharpie marker and made a large heart. What I'm going to do is open that up. I'm going to take these pieces, and I'm not going to get real close to the edges because this really runs. I'm going to take my shavings. I use scarlet, pink, and magenta. You don't want to use anything that's too opposite on the color wheel, or you'll get a brown, and it won't be a pretty effect at all. But these colors, they're pretty much the same. Different tone of red, and they'll blend to make a pretty stained glass. Okay, so you want to make sure that they're spaced pretty evenly so that all the surface will be covered. Then you're going to sandwich those shavings in between the wax paper, and with little pats at first. I hope you can see this. You just touch it gently, and the crayon melts and spreads around and fills the heart shape. Now, the reason why I don't cut the wax paper before I do it, as you can see, is that it spreads beyond the lines. So that's finished. I'm going to just let it sit and dry at this point. Before I go on, for you who don't have a spare iron that's just set aside for crafts, if you're using an iron that you use for clothing also, a tip you can do is before you iron is cover the wax paper with a sheet of computer paper or any other type of paper, and that will protect your iron. And also, it's a good way after you're finished, using, even if it's just a craft iron, to run your iron over the paper, and it will remove any residue that you might have left on it from your project. The next step is easy, and the fun part, you get to see what it looks like. I cut inside the Sharpie line to cut that away. Cut around. It doesn't take long to cool down at all, just not even a minute, which is great if you're doing this with children because they'll be impatient to see what it turns out like. But there you go. It's a beautiful scarlet heart, and I'll put it up in a window and give you a look at what it looks like with the sun shining through. Another quick tip that I use for putting things in windows is to just use a glue stick. I don't know if any of you have ever taped something to your window, but I'm sure if you have, you know what I know, that it's going to be really tedious to pick it off afterwards. I use glue sticks to glue to the window. After you take something off, you take a wet wash rag, wash the glue away, quickly Windex, and the process is about half to even 3/4 the time it takes to pick tape off of the window once it's really adhered. Okay, this I'm going to take over and put in the window. The glue stick will hold it until I pull it off. I'm having a hard time holding this steady because I'm holding my computer. But there you go. You can see how pretty it looks in a window. It's a great project to do with kids. The parent or grandparent or guardian or teacher will need to do the ironing most likely unless they're older. But it's thrilling to watch it. It's and the places it doesn't stick and the places where it's thicker tend to give it that great stained glass look. So let's see, am I holding this right there?